Hi, my name is Jalen. Hi, I'm Ella.
Hi, I'm Chloe.
This is our neuron. So you can see here that we have these little red dendrites. Those are made out of yarn. She's going to explain the function. The dendrites are branch-like extensions that receive the messages from other cells. And then we also have our axon here. This is the yellow part. It goes along here. And orange. And the axon passes the messages away from the cell body to the other neurons, muscles, or glands. And then we also have the cell body. It's right here in the middle. We made that with, we made like a little cube out of these puzzle pieces and then put a little puffball in the middle. And the cell body is the cell's life support center, and it holds the nucleus and DNA.
And then we have the myelin sheaths here, which are the blue, and that's made out of straws.
The myelin sheath, it covers the axon of some of the neurons, and it helps speed the neural impulses.
And then we have the glial cells, which are made out of the green beads as well.
The glial cells support, nourish, and protect the neurons, and they're vital to learning, thinking, and memory, and they contain myelin.
And then we also have the terminal branches of the axon, which are the little red pieces of yarn.
And the axon terminal, it forms the junctions with the other cells and passes the information along to dendrites of other cells.
Hi, my name is Brent, and I'm going to be talking about conduction and what happens while the neurons are firing. So first we have action potential, which is where the terminal branches of the axon connect with the dendrites of the new cell, and we have sodium and potassium, and they're interchanging. And then after that happens, we have the refractory period, which is where nothing is happening, the cell's fully resetting, can't do anything, nothing's going on. And then we have resting potential, which is where the information's in here, it's ready to go, it's just waiting to find another cell to fire. So the all-or-none principle means that either everything is getting sent or nothing's getting sent. There's no sending half the message, none of that. It's everything or it's nothing. And then we have ion channels, and that is when there's sodium and potassium, and the sodium is going into the new cell and the potassium is leaving at the same time, and it's an exchange.
Hi, my name is Chloe, and then I'm going to be discussing the synapse, vesicles, receptors, postsynaptic potential, reuptake, and then we chose serotonin for our neurotransmitter. So when we have a neuron, how they communicate is through a synapse. So there is a junction between two nerve cells, so nerve cell 1 and nerve cell 2. It's consisting of a minute gap, which is like this. It would be smaller in a real neuron, but it's a gap between and across which impulses pass by diffusion of the neurotransmitter, which our neurotransmitter is serotonin. So there's vesicles on a neuron which transport, store, and deliver various substances like proteins, hormones, nutrients, and waste products. So that will be transferring from neuron to neuron. And then there's receptor sites that are on the axon terminals to the dendrites to bind to specific chemical signals like neurotransmitters, hormones, and other molecules, trigger a response inside the cell like opening ion channels to generate electrical signals. So like Brent explained, the sodium and potassium changing from the ion channels. And then postsynaptic potential receives the neurotransmitter signal released from the presynaptic terminal and transducts it into electrical and biochemical changes in the postsynaptic cell. So in order for neurons to communicate with each other, they have to form from electricity to a biological change, and that is done through the postsynaptic potential. Reuptake is important with the absorption of the presynaptic nerve endings of the neurotransmitter that is secreted. And then serotonin is the neurotransmitter that we chose. It is a hormone that plays crucial roles in mood regulation, sleep, and appetite, learning, memory, and hormone production. So drugs can interfere with synaptic transmission by mimicking those neurotransmitters, or they can block reuptake, so they would prevent that reabsorption by this presynaptic nerve endings, and then forcing neurotransmitters to release. So if serotonin wasn't ready to be released, it can force that to be released by the body like unnaturally. and then it can increase the inhibitory effects, and then it can block the ion channels, so therefore the potassium and sodium wouldn't be crossing each neuron.